So after our brief walk with the dinosaurs, we want to know,
how do they do it? Our fascination with walking, roaring dinosaur robots goes back almost 75 years to the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. Their motors, gears, levers, and pulleys were used to animate primeval monsters that wowed the crowds. Now that crowd's great-grandchildren are having a close encounter with what is almost the real thing.
I mean, I keep saying that unless you know someone who can build a functional time machine, this is as close as you'll ever get to seeing a one-on-one scale dinosaur.
The inspiration for Walking with Dinosaurs came from the BBC show of the same name.
The original television series was just completely breakthrough. It's just quite a revolution. And what we've tried to do is take that notion and actually truly bring it alive, not in 2 dimensions, but in 3.
At first I thought they were crazy. And then when I went down, they coaxed me into coming down to Australia, and I went into the workshop and saw one of the creatures moving around. I just was hooked.
Much of the magic comes from major motion pictures.
Well, that's what I think makes it so special. The dinosaurs are designed and built by guys who normally build creatures for film. So the detail is done so that they can film it close up. So for an audience in a theater or an arena, you don't really get that kind of detail in anything that's a puppet or an animatronic thing. So it really passes all standards for that kind of art.
It is an art that requires lots of painted lycra and bean bags.
The skins are actually a lycra fabric covered, treated with latex and then paint. Underneath that there are layers of foam, sort of spongy foam that give them the muscular structure and the bone structure. And there are also bean bags with little polystyrene balls in some of them that we call muscle bags. And they sort of flesh them out to give them the look of the real muscle.
Muscle that is attached to aluminum bones and hydraulic motors that require a bunch of heavy-duty 12-volt batteries. And a tender hand on the wheel.
In terms of operation, you have a driver underneath each dinosaur.
What do you do for a living?
I drive dinosaurs.
Yep, you've got control.
Then you have 2 puppeteers that operate a thing we call voodoo rigs, which are sort of like a mechanical arm that when they're operating the arm, the same thing is remotely, the signals are remotely transmitted to the dinosaur and it responds as well. So at any one time with a large dinosaur, you get 3 performers all at the same time talking to each other. And at the end scene, say we've got 3 large dinosaurs and 1 little dinosaur running around trying to fight and eat each other. There's at least 10 people and sometimes even a bit more than that getting together and going, right, so let's make this work. And part of the triumph of this show is just how we've managed to make these creatures really look like they're attacking and eating each other. Logistically, it's quite difficult.
It is difficult when you're joined not at the hip, but at the ankles of a dinosaur.
The arm comes around, he yells at baby, right? Yeah. And then as he's yelling at baby, I acknowledge that. So I go, what's going on? So I look at the baby.
They got to work on the choreography because this...
It literally is like a musical in regards to you have a song and a performer comes out and they perform and they do their thing and it's all scripted and choreographed. So from that point of view, it actually is just like a proper musical. So when people come to see it, it's like going to see a stage show. It's just everything is on an immense scale.
Even though this is a musical, the cast, of course, cannot sing. But they sure can.
Now, on each of these like little pianos, we've got 3 different dinosaurs sounds. And so for this one, like this is the Ankylosaurus. So there's a whole range of sounds that we use for that. Now, to operate it, when we hit a key and open the mouth, this joystick will open the mouth of the dinosaur. That's why the roars are live, because they've got to be done, for each one. And also on this joystick, you've got the eye blinks, just this little toggle here, and also the eyes will look from left to right. And particularly when you've got, say, big T-Rex coming along. I mean, and the eyes go from left to right. It just makes him so much more real. And all the dinosaurs have that, so it's great.
Felix Nobis, who portrays Huxley the paleontologist, imagines his fellow cast members as being...
I imagine them being alive each time I perform the show, and it's easy to do when you're that close. Even that close, they look so terrifically real. It's an exciting position, and I think a lot of people in the audience appreciate having a human there on stage as well, reacting to them in the way that they would react if they were there also.
And all it takes is...
6 years, $20 million, and hundreds of people, specialists in all sorts of areas.
Yeah, it's massive. The technology that goes into building the dinosaurs is so complex.
So complex, and in the end, simply enchanting. Give us a kiss, love. Coming up, discover why walking with dinosaurs in Philadelphia is a real sense walking home.
That's next on Primetime Weekend.
Home.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Walking with Dinosaurs, the live experience. You can catch this live show August 16th through the 19th at the Wachovia Spectrum.